Hey, hello everyone. Thank you for joining. We'll give it a few more seconds as people are still connecting to audio and then we'll get started. Okay, good evening everyone. Thank you for joining the San Francisco's Kindergarten to College and Scholarshare workshop on how to save with California's 529 account. Before we begin, let's review a few housekeeping items. Today's workshop is being recorded. This recorded workshop will be available on our website at k2csf.org. We respect all participants in this convening today and want to create a safe space for all. By default, all participants will be muted and video is disabled. Video will be on for speakers only. To activate live transcription, select the More or the three-dot button at the bottom of your screen and click on Live Transcript. To participate in Q&A, please select the chat button at the bottom of your screen and send your question to everyone. You may also use the raise hand feature and wait to be called upon. At this time, I will hand it over to Mohan Kanungo, K2C Program Manager. Mohan, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. We're super excited for you to be here today. And I want to welcome you and just give you a preview of what we plan to cover. So to begin, we want to introduce you to the Office of Financial Empowerment, which K2C is a part of. We'll give you a quick preview of this exciting opportunities to save with Scholarshare alongside your K2C account. But we'll hear in more depth from the great folks at Scholarshare themselves about how the 529 account works, how to open one, a special exciting matching grant, as well as an incentive in the month of September. And we'll wrap up with a Q&A before pointing to how you can stay connected with us and follow up on any last questions or support that might be needed. I want to cover a few things, as I mentioned, before we hear from Scholarshare. So the Office of Financial Empowerment lives within the Office of the San Francisco Treasurer and Tax Collector. And OFE convenes, innovates, and advocates to strengthen the economic security and mobility of all San Franciscans. Kindergarten to College is one of those initiatives, alongside Smart Money Coaching, which provides free financial coaching for anyone who lives, works, or receives services in San Francisco. We offer Bank On, which supports access to affordable and responsible banking products in San Francisco. And we run a number of pilots and initiatives, including guaranteed income work, support around student loan debt. So I encourage you to check out the Office of Financial Empowerment's website for additional resources and support alongside of K2C's. Now, Kindergarten to College started over 10 years ago here in San Francisco, and we're the oldest and largest municipally led child savings initiative around the country. And what we do is we open a savings account for every student when they enroll in kindergarten or another grade through 12th grade this year, and we seed that account with $50. And we incentivize families to save along the way so that they can grow their college savings. What we're super excited about today is really to introduce the opportunity to save with K2C alongside what's called a 529 account with the state's program called Scholarshare. Some of the benefits that you'll hear about is you'll have now the option to choose different investment options that allow you to have some tax benefits. There's also this opportunity of a matching grant up to $225 available for lower income households in California. And you can choose, as I mentioned, to save alongside both accounts. You can move some or all of your contributions over to this 529. So just so you can follow along, if you want to pull up on another screen, check out the Save with a 529 section of the k2csf.org website. You'll see those 1, 2, 3 steps of how to open an account, wire your balance over, and then ultimately we hope to launch a new portal through which you can see both balances in one place, which is forthcoming. So before we launch into the presentation with Scholarshare, I do want to launch a quick poll just to sort of survey everyone here. Don't take this as a pop quiz that you have to get right or wrong inherently. We're just kind of reading the room and seeing what people know or might understand about this new opportunity to save with K2C and Scholarshare. So we have 3 questions. Please take a moment to answer them as it appears on your screen with our poll. The first question is, you can move your contributions and incentives to a 529 account at Scholarshare, true or false? Again, quick sneak preview. You can go to that website, probably get some of this information, but we'll make sure to cover this again before we wrap up today's workshop. Second question, when leaving the district, K2C can return your contributions only directly to the parent guardian or to the student if they're over 18 by check or bank transfer. So if you leave the district, K2C can return your contributions by check or bank transfer. Is that true or false? And then last question, while enrolled with the district, the minimum dollar requirement to keep your account open, your K2C account open, if you plan to move your balance to a 529 at Scholarshare, is $10. So we're listening for if there's a minimum requirement here to keep your K2C account open if you plan to save in both accounts. We'll take just a moment or two to allow folks to answer. And I think we got actually everyone responding. So I'm going to go ahead and end the poll. There might be a few more people just joining the meeting so we can hear, see what the results are and then confirm the answers. So everyone responded correctly. To this first question, that's true. You can move contributions and incentives. And what that means is contributions is the money you've put in, what you've deposited, your personal contributions into that account. And then the incentives is all those awards that we offer to get you to spur savings and engaging with the account, right? So you can move all of that over. And then when you leave the district, if you choose to just get your contributions before graduation, then we can make that transfer by bank transfer via Zelle or issue a check payable to the minor student. And lastly, if you are in the district, you want to keep both accounts open, you will need to have $10 as a minimum amount in your K2C account to maintain that active. All right. Well, I realize I may not have shared the results. So there it is again, what I just read out loud. And we're going to go ahead and move on now and hear from our colleague, Dana. So Dana, feel free to go ahead and share your screen and take us away.
Thanks, Mohan. I need permission to share my screen.
Got it. Let me make sure that you have that.
Okay.
And got it? Perfect.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining us for the Scholarshare 529 part of this presentation. And my name is Dana Salas. I'm an outreach specialist with the California Scholarshare 529 plan at the State Treasurer's Office, the California State Treasurer's Office. And here's my contact information. If you want to get a hold of me after the presentation, if you have some extra questions regarding Scholarshare 529, so feel free to jot that down. And I can also put it in the chat as at the end. And also feel free to chat in any questions that you may have. We will be monitoring the chat. And yes, so as I go along the presentation, feel free to ask something on the chat and we'll be prepared to answer it. So this is an agenda of the things we'll be talking about during this presentation. Paying for college, the basics, what's involved with all that. And then we'll see if Scholarshare 529 is right for your family. And if you think it might be, then we'll show you how to open an account real briefly. And there'll be some extra little steps on how to make the most out of your existing account when you open it, or if you already have one. And then at the end, we will have question and answer if you want to unmute yourself, but feel free to type in any questions on the chat as we go along. So as you see here, it seems like it's graduation day for parents. They're very proud of their kids. The next step is college. So how do you navigate all that and how do you pay for college? So this is what you can expect when it comes to paying for higher education. In the California Community College system, you can expect to pay around $1,500, and that is an annual tuition. And I understand there is free community college tuition, I believe, for a year or two. So definitely good to take advantage of that at all possible. And when you're looking at paying for a CSU or UC type school, just the public 4-year, it adds up to about $6,000, and that's about annual tuition. So it can really add up over 4 years if you multiply that by 4. And then if you're looking into applying to a private 4-year school, then the rates really add up, and that is a lot of money. And that all these different community college, public 4-year, private, those do not include living costs, which could add up to about $17,000. And it all is different depending on where you go, but it could really add up. And there's a little stat here, and it could take around 18.5 years to pay off a student loan. So one of our goals here at Scholarshare 529 is to help parents understand that there are ways to save for college and there's different options, and bring awareness about the importance of saving for higher education to try to avoid student loans, because that can bring out some stress trying to pay those off. And just a little bit more information about that student loan epidemic, what they call it. There's about $1.75 trillion in student loan debt out there. The average graduate graduates with about $28,000 in debt. And that could equal out to, depending on a payment arrangement, to $300 a month. That can go towards maybe buying their dream car or saving for a house. And one last stat is about 46 million Americans have student loan debt. So all this can make just the end product of college really expensive. And we want to try to avoid that. So the more you save, the better it can turn out. And talking about saving and different ways to save, these are one of the major saving options that families have. We have junior, UTMA type of accounts. Some parents and families use their retirement funds, traditional or Roth IRAs. Sometimes they use this to save for higher education, but this is retirement. You want to save it for that. That could be a very important time when you just retire, you're good to go. So you want to try to avoid that. But some parents use their general savings account at a bank, or maybe they have some cash at home. Whatever the case, different parents, different families have different styles of saving. And then we have Scholarshare 529, and there are 529s all over the country, but the one we're talking about today is Scholarshare 529, and it's just one way to save. And then there are Coverdale savings accounts. So as you can see, there are different ways to pay for school or to save for school, but the one you choose can make a big difference. And this slide just shows you how the savings can really add up. The color in blue is the money that you would be saving hypothetically if you save $100 per month over the span of 18 years. You can be at maybe $21,000 in just your money that you're saving. But you have the option or the potential to grow this money and have some earnings and almost double your money. And obviously this growth in orange is hypothetical because it will be invested in the money market, and the money market always fluctuates. But it just shows you that you can get some earnings that can really add up over time and make a big difference when it comes to paying for tuition, fees, books, and supplies. So you've seen what it costs to go to college, what you're going to have to pay, maybe different ways to save. So now we're going to see if Scholarshare 529 is right for your family. So just a little background about our plan. We are a state program we are overseen by the Scholarshare Investment Board, which is chaired by the California State Treasurer, and right now it's Fiona Ma. And we are the official California 529 plan, because there are other 529s out there throughout the country, but we are the California state's official one. So we're not just some bank that started or a startup that's been around for a year. That's not us. We've been around for 20 years, and we have a good track record of helping families save for college. And this little item here shows that we have $12 billion in assets. So parents are using our 529 to save for their higher education. And we are one of the largest plans, 529 plan in the country. So it just really shows you that we've been around for a while, parents trust us, they're saving with us, and we are a government plan. So it's not just something that you might see and it's, you don't trust it. You can trust our program because it's backed up by the government. And the Scholarshare 529 is a IRS section code 529. So you might say IRS 401k is similar. So this is a program that was created by the federal government to help families save for college. So the funds that you're going to be saving here and getting earnings on is going to be used for higher education purposes. So as it is an investment option that you're going to be using with the 529, you have one advantage is that all the earnings that you're going to get are 100% tax-free. So all those earnings are going to go tax-free. And that can mean about 3 times more for versus saving in a general bank savings account. And also some parents have their own taxable investments out there and that money can grow as well. But with Scholarshare 529, because of the tax-free growth on earnings, you can have about 3 times more money in saving. And also this is hypothetical as well, because all this is through the money market and we all know how much that fluctuates here and there. But just to give you an example of how that looks like. And I do have a little explainer video that can make it a little bit more fun for you to so it can explain itself better.
Hi, neighbor. We love our kids, right? We'd do anything for them. But have you seen how much college costs these days? Oh, you stash cash in your savings account, but the car breaks down. Johnny needs new braces. The dog gets sick. So you know you're going to have to dip into those college savings. So you look for a CD or mutual fund to keep it safe and separate. But here's the thing. With Scholarshare 529, your earnings are never subject to state or federal income tax when used for qualified expenses. Think of it this way. Open a tax-free Scholarshare 529 account, and when your kid is ready for college, you will have accumulated up to 25% more money than compared to a CD or mutual fund, which are taxable. 25% more money. So fix the car, get the braces, take the dog to the vet, and let Scholarshare 529 help you make the most out of your college savings.
It's nice to have those little videos. So as you could see, that's the investment side of it. You can make your decision if you think that's something that works for your family. But now we're going to talk about how you can use the money. So you can use the money for more than just college. You can use the money you've been saving in schools that are in California or around the world. And just because our plan is the official California one, doesn't mean you just have to use the money in California. You can use it at schools in other states like Texas or New York. Just make sure that that school that you're going to plan to use the money at is a qualified institution. And you can check if they are qualified on the fafsa.ed.gov website. So as long as the school is qualified, then you're able to use the money there. And you can use it at private schools, public schools, community colleges, and technical schools too. So just make sure you check if that institution is qualified, just to double check, make sure they're able to receive the money from your own 529 account. And also, like I mentioned, there you can use it for different types of expenses. A lot of schools now, or a lot of the education nowadays is virtual. So maybe your child needs a new laptop, maybe they need software if they're taking photography class, or just supplies in general that they may need. And I don't have to list, or I don't have the list of all the different expenses that are qualified. So you might want to check on that on our website. But for the most part, it's materials that are necessary to pass the class, or that's required for the class they're taking. things like that. And one thing parents ask about how they could use the money is, what if your child ends up not going to college? What happens there? So if you have one child that does not want to go, but you have another child that is ready to go, you can change the beneficiary from this child to another child, and the wheel keeps going depending on how many kids you may have. But if you only have just one kid and they just don't want to go to college, your money can still stay in the account and keep growing over time. Perhaps they change their mind and they want to use it. You can always take out the money. You can withdraw for other purposes. The only thing is that if you use the money for something other than higher education, there will be a penalty on the earnings only. So as long as you're able to use it for higher education, when you withdraw, then you're good to go, tax-free, and you don't have to pay taxes on that. But let's say you use the money to remodel your kitchen, you're going to be penalized on the earnings. So just FYI, if you're considering other savings options with this plan, you do have to use it for higher education. If you do have to use it for higher education unless you want to be taxed and penalized. So make sure that you are using it for higher education, or else you may be penalized. And there's a little fine print here. It's about a 10% penalty on earnings, as well as federal and state income taxes. So just look into that. So how are your savings invested? So these are just an overview of what you can expect. We have here a guaranteed investment portfolio that's available. And this is for parents or families that just want something to invest in that is low risk, has a low level of risk, and that offers a stable rate of return. And this might be a good option if your child's a freshman in high school, let's say, and you don't have that much time to save for higher education, you have 4 years left, then you don't want to be super risky with how you're investing. That might be a good option. Or if your child is, it depends on how you want to save, but this is usually for families that just want to have a stable rate of return and have a low level of risk. And on the right, we have enrollment year investment portfolios that have been really popular because how this works is you choose this portfolio when you open your account. Let's say, as an example, you open it when you have a newborn or a 1-year-old and you have 18 years to save. So the investment strategy would automatically adjust in growth from a little bit aggressive to more conservative as the enrollment year approaches. So this might be good for parents that just want something that is just automatically doing it on themselves. The planned and portfolio is just kind of doing its thing. You don't have to really work with the investments. It's just there. Set it and forget it. You set it and it's just going to automatically adjust as you go. So that's an option that parents like. And then in the middle, it just shows you that we have different portfolios. We have about 19 different portfolios that you can choose from. And this might be good for families that are more investment savvy and want to customize their investment strategy. And included in these portfolios are socially responsible ones. So if you want to look into that, you can visit our website and look all through our investment portfolio options. It shows you all the different portfolios, and I can't tell you all of them now just because of time, but on the website, it offers all that information for you to do your research. And I have another explainer video explaining the investment options, so I'll let you watch that.
You want to grow your kids' college savings? Well, you better keep an eye out for high fees and expenses. They can make a dent in your savings. Commissions, sale charges, change of beneficiaries, investment portfolio fees. Not with Scholarshare 529. They are recognized for their low-cost investments, which stand out from other 529 plans. Also, with Scholarshare 529, you never pay for application fees, cancellation fees, redemption fees, or transfer fees. A few dollars here, a few dollars there. It all adds up, so do your homework and find out what you're paying. Hope this is helpful, neighbor.
Yes, so this is just showing you that there are different
You want to
different fees that you may find with other 529 plans, but we don't have any of those. So if you want to look into that a little more, you can visit our website as well. Well, now you've seen all that's involved with our plan, how we work, what kind of investment options there are, how your money can grow. Now you're thinking, okay, well, maybe I want to open one, but who's eligible? Who can open one and who can I save for? So usually it's going to be an account owner that is a parent or a grandparent. They're usually the ones that are going to open the account, and they have to be age 18 or older, be a US citizen or resident, and have a valid social or tax ID number. So as long as you have these things, then you're able to open an account. And at the time of account opening, you have the option to designate a successor account owner just in case of the account owner death. So that might be a good option if for someone that you trust to name them there in case something happens. And that way your money will be safe and someone that you trust will be able to help your child pay for school. Now, the beneficiaries are usually a child, a grandchild, and even yourself. So you can open in a plan for yourself if you want to go back to school. Maybe you want to take a photography class, go back to the community college, do something like that. You can save for yourself. And the beneficiary does not have to be a relative. So it's just open to whoever you want to save for, but usually it's a child. You must have a social ID number or tax ID number as well as a beneficiary. So you have to have their information for that. And you can only have one beneficiary per account. So if you have, let's say, 5 kids, you'd have to open up an account for each of them. So that's how that would work. And who can contribute? Just about anyone. Obviously, the account owner is going to be the main one. It's going to be coming out of their bank account, or maybe their paycheck if your employer offers you to do payroll deduction. Or we have this U-Gift option that once you have your account set up, you have a link that you could send over to family and friends that they can use to deposit money into your account, and they won't have to provide any bank account information on their end. It works similarly to how Venmo or Cash App or even Zelle, how it works. You may be familiar with those services. It's as easy as that. They get a code and then you select how much you want to donate into their 529 account, and it just appears in their account. So it might be a good idea when parties come up and they're asking you, what do you want? What do you want as a gift? You could say, well, I have a 529 account. Maybe you can help me save. And you'd be surprised at how many people are excited to help you save for college, because this can go a long way versus a toy that may break or clothes that might outgrow. So, okay, well, you're thinking, all right, Scholarshare is right for me. Now, how do you open an account? So I have just one slide, it's brief. You just open an account at scholarshare529.com, or you could call our 800 number. A lot of people open it online and it takes about or less than 15 minutes, depending on your pace. The first thing that you're gonna do is select your beneficiary. So you're gonna say, okay, I'm gonna save for my child, I'm gonna save for myself. And you're gonna have to have their personal information, like their social ID number, things like that. You're gonna have to have it handy. And then the next step is gonna be how much you wanna save. So if you wanna start off with $100 a month or whatever, it's the minimum is only $1. So as long as you open your account with $1, then you are good to go. If you want to do more, that's good too. And at the next step would be to choose your investment portfolio. If you are having a tough time with this one, maybe you just don't know how to invest, you can call it 800 number, and there's representatives there that can guide you and help you pick one. And then the fourth step would be to fund your account. So you will have to provide your bank information to fund it initially. And then at that time, you can select to have periodic contributions come out. So maybe you do it automatically and you say, I'm going to save every month. So that could be a recurring contribution that comes out of your account every month, or maybe you want to do it every 2 weeks or every 6 months. It just depends on you. You're not locked down to a certain plan where you have to save each month. It's really up to you and your pace. But if you want to do something that just comes out of your bank account each month, that way you don't spend it, that may be good. That way it goes straight into the savings fund and you don't spend it on something else. We do have a workplace savings option. And this is for maybe your employer, whoever you work with, maybe offers the option for you to have your savings come out right out of your paycheck. So maybe check with your employer to see if they offer this. That way it can make it easier for you to save for it to come right out of your paycheck. So these are just the 4 steps. It's really easy. But if you need extra help, just give us a call. Now, I have about 3 slides left, and it's just going to go over the different extra programs that we have that gives you some offers that help you boost your account, like a few extra dollars that you can put into your account. So the first one is the matching grant program. And this one is really great because it gives you up to $225 when you open a new account. So that's money that's free. It's out there for people to claim if you qualify. So who qualifies? For this program in particular, matching grant program, you do have to be a California parent or legal guardian, and your household income must be under $75,000, and beneficiaries have to be under age 14. So Scholarshare 529 in general, there are no age limits, but for this program to qualify for this promotion, the beneficiary does have to be under age 14. And this will not impact state benefits, so don't worry about that. The account owner also and beneficiary must have a social or a TIN number, and it is open to new beneficiaries only. So if you already have an account, you probably won't qualify for this program. And you won't have to submit any forms to us to verify your income. It's all gonna go through the franchise tax board. So that's just how that works. And like I mentioned, what it is, it gives you a dollar for dollar match on your contribution up to $200. So if you open an account with $100, we'll match you $100. If you open up an account with $500, we can only match up to the $200. And you get an extra $25 if you sign up for an automatic contribution plan, which just means that you sign up for money to come out of your bank every month or every 6 months. If you sign up for that, you get that extra $25. So if you want to take advantage of this, apply before the end of this year at 12 on December 31st, 2022. And you can go to this website or our website, scholarshare529.com/MGP. But on our general webpage, there will be some buttons that you could press and it'll direct you to this website. And on there as well, you will find more information and check out the terms and conditions to clarify all the eligibility and what exactly it does. Now, the CalKids program, maybe you guys have heard of it already. I have a little video showing what it is as well. And I will not be able to answer questions about CalKids because I have a colleague that does. And if you do have questions, just direct them to my email address and I could direct them to the appropriate person. But the little video that I'm going to show you guys is just for you to know and be aware of. But if you have questions, just please email us as we will not be able to answer questions about this today in this presentation.
CalKids is a new state program designed to kickstart your child's future and increase access to higher education with free money for college. This program for Californians serves 2 groups, newborns and eligible low-income public school students in grades 1 through 12. All California babies born on or after July 1st of this year get a $25 seed deposit. If parents register through the online portal, they get an additional $25 in a CalKids account. And when they link an existing or new Scholarshare 529 college savings account, they get another $50 deposit. That's up to $100 in free money for newborns. Eligible low-income children enrolled in public schools in grades 1 through 12 receive a $500 seed deposit in a CalKids account. If they're in foster care, they can get an additional $500. And if they're homeless, they get another $500. That's up to $1,500. Cal Kids in the state of California want to help as many kids as possible get more opportunities through higher education with free money for college. To learn more and check your eligibility, visit calkids.org
So
today.
you can see if you want to check your eligibility, visit calkids.org and you will find more information about that as well. And this is a little slide
CalKids.
that gives you an overview of what it is. So if you want to take a screenshot or just take a picture of it, feel free, but you can definitely find more information on the website. And we have another offer just during the month of September because it is College Savings Month. So if you want to take advantage of this, just do so before the end of the month. And what it is you're gonna get $100 bonus if you open an account with $1,000 or more. And you must make a deposit within 10 days of opening an account in order to qualify for that bonus. So if you want to take advantage of that, you can visit this website as well, scholarshare529.com/bonus. So that is all I have for you today about Scholarshare 529 and all the different promotions that we offer. So I think the chat is filled with a lot of questions, but if you have questions now, feel free to, I think you're supposed to unmute yourself if you want. I forget what it was, but if you have questions, yeah, you could put them in the chat and we'll be answering them. But thank you, and I appreciate you attending and learning more about Scholarshare 529. And again, here is my contact information if you want me to answer any additional questions that you may forgot to ask.
Well, Dana, why don't we start with some of the questions that are in the chat? And as you said, people can unmute themselves, but I see some questions that came in earlier that we could start with. And yeah, we really encourage folks. We wanted to allow for as much time in this our workshop to really interact with each other, ask questions, digest the information. So we welcome you to share those things that you're curious about. I saw a question that maybe is more K2C specific. So the question is, from Thomas, if I move my son's K2C balance to a 529, will he still get K2C matching contributions and growth incentives? And so the answer is yes. For any amount that you continue to deposit with into K2C, the balance that's there would get what we call the growth incentive. And Dan, I'm just going to show my screen for a moment. And you know, if you make a $20 contribution every year, you can get that match. I'm going to jump ahead to one of our slides that has that broken down. And if you go to the About section of k2csf.org, you can see all of these incentives, which change every year. So some of the ones that we have recurring for everyone, is that $20 match. So just like we heard from Dana earlier about a matching incentive, K2C has a $20 match, dollar for dollar. If you have a brand new opened account, we will give you $20 if you make a deposit of any amount. The growth amount is sort of an opportunity that functions kind of like interest. And then if you just log in and view your balance or you register for the first time, then you can get $20 as well. Dana, feel free, or Diana, feel free to jump in if you see a 529 specific question that you want to address next.
Okay, I see one that came in early on, and looks like we answered that one from Cindy. And there's another one that says, if I already have a 529 in another state, can I open a second plan in California? I don't know if that was answered, but yeah, you can definitely open one in California. And if you already have that state plan, yeah, I mean, it's open to anyone to open one, so that should be fine. And Michelle asked, how can I open an account? If it's an account with Scholarshare that you want to open, just go on our website and there will be a button right on the screen that says open an account. And someone asked if our 529 Scholarshare investment amount affect financial aid. or is it like K2C, which isn't required to share? A 529 does affect financial aid package. It will affect it by up to 5.6%. It will have that much of an impact on a financial aid package. There are other ways that people save that have a worse impact. So our 529 plan is actually a very financial aid friendly way to save. But you can look into that a little more on the fafsa.ed.gov website that explains a little bit more in detail how all that works. Oh, and I guess Diana must have answered that already on the financial aid impact.
I'm going to just tag team a little bit and go to a K2C specific question, reiterate some of what we covered at the beginning, and kind of break down the options there to either keep your K2C account open or close it. So going to go to some earlier slides. Just be patient with me. So some questions to ask to kind of make this a little bit more digestible. So these are some pro tips. When you're considering making a transfer of your balance from K2C over to Scholarshare 529, you will, as we mentioned, open a 529 Scholarshare account first. And those are two separate things. The opening of the 529 account with Scholarshare and then seeing if you're eligible. So make sure you do that first. I saw another question that kind of related to this. Because if we transfer your balance from K2C, it could count towards that $200 match that Dana mentioned. And that's, again, specifically for lower income households, but you want to see first if you're eligible to be able to sort of maximize that reward of using the K2C balance to count towards that. And then if you are enrolled in SFUSD, then you can choose to keep your K2C account open, but you'll need to have at least $10. And as we heard from Thomas's question earlier, you can continue to earn incentives and retain all the benefits of an active K2C account if you save or participate in some of our contests and workshops that we offer where we incentivize participation that my colleague Elisa leads. Or you could decide, I just want to transfer all my contributions and incentives over. And one question I saw kind of related to that came through in the chat is, well, if my student's coming up on graduation, why would I want to move everything to Scholarshare? And that definitely is a personal choice. But as Dana mentioned, there are more conservative investment options so that if your student's really coming up on graduation, then you certainly may not want to put it into an investment that could lose a lot of value. Whereas if you're moving your balance and your student is in kindergarten, then you might choose one of those target date funds or choose an option that has a little bit more risk at the beginning, but could sort of even out over time. And then as we mentioned before, if you have left a district, you can move everything over to Scholarshare, contributions and incentives, or if you just want to get the money that you put in back, then we will return it via Zelle or check.
And I saw a question come in about yeah, and it was just answered, but yeah, you can open a 529 with an ITIN number.
And again, you can unmute yourself if there's something you want to talk through out loud. And let's see.
I did see a question in the chat, hasn't been answered yet. My son is a senior this year. How would he benefit by moving his money tonight?
Yeah, so I tried to weave that in a little bit earlier, but to answer it more succinctly, you can totally choose to keep your balance with K2C, and something we're really excited about if you are a graduating senior this year is the fact that K2C is going to disperse funds for the first time to our first cohort. And you can actually visit now the Leaving SFUSD section of k2csf.org. I think I have a slide about that, but you can check it out online as well. And basically, what we are doing right now is piloting disbursement for about 130 seniors. And this is going to look somewhat similar come spring of this year for our graduating class. You're going to have to complete some sort of intake form, and then you can choose your preferred payment option, and then we'll ask you to certify that you are enrolling in college and how you want to use those, and that you plan to use those funds for higher education related expenses. So I think if you, for instance, have a much higher balance in your K2C account, let's say you have $15,000 and you have, already got some scholarships or financial aid awarded, you don't need to use that money right away, then you might move it over to 529 and choose to invest it over the next year and use it for later. Also, one of the cool things I like about a 529 is you can use it for graduate school. It doesn't have to be, or vocational school or trade school, but you can use it not just for undergrad. So those might be some factors to consider when you want to move the balance over, do a 529, but certainly managing that risk if they're going to use the money sooner than later.
We also have another question from Charlene. What are the benefits of keeping the K2C account if we move everything to the 529 account?
Yeah, so if you move everything to the 529 account, then the KDC account is going to close, right? Some parents might want to make that choice because, having two accounts might feel more complicated. They just want to consolidate all their savings in one place, right? We heard from one person who asked, well, can I have two different 529s, with different providers? And you can. Grandma might open a 529 for your student, and you might have a 529 for your student. But sometimes parents will just want to have everything in one place and make that simpler. So we totally respect that. I would say that with the 529 or with K2C's account, we offer these incentives every year. They're relatively small amounts, to be quite honest. So when we see students with balances of a couple $1,000s, we really reach out to you all to encourage you to consider moving your balance over to a 529. We really want you to maximize your college savings over time.
We also have another question from Julia. If my child has a 529 with another state, can I transfer it to the California Scholarshare 529? Well, I see that Dana just answered that question.
Oh yeah, I just put in an answer there that yes, you can do that. You just have to do it within like a 12-month period without any taxes. So yeah, definitely it's possible.
Yeah, that's actually a good question because sometimes people will think actually for K2C that we're a 529 and that you would be rolling over your funds to Scholarshare, and that's not the case. So just to clarify our process and take a moment to show and dig into the steps a little bit more, I'm going to show what our form looks like actually, because all you'll need to transfer your K2C balance over to Scholarshare is your 529 account number. And so the first step, as you saw in our chat and we started with, is open that 529 account. You can do it online. There's a Spanish version of that website as well. And when you've opened that account and you have an account number that begins with Scholarshare with 94, you're going to input that on K2C's form. You can find these forms in the Leaving SFUSD or Save with a 529 section of k2csf.org. And you can see these two different forms because, again, if you're enrolled in the district, you will have the option to keep your K2C account open, or you can choose to close it, right? So you're going to check mark which option you want. In the second section, you're going to input the Scholarshare account number, which begins with 94. And when it says account owner name, we heard from Dana earlier, this is the owner of the account. This is typically the parent or guardian. Could be a grandparent, could be somebody else. The beneficiary is going to be your student. So make sure to put in your name if you're the account owner, or your partner's name, or whoever's name it is, that's the owner of that Scholarshare account. And then you'll put in the student information. Alternatively, if your students left the district, you're going to be able to withdraw all the contributions and incentives and transfer that over to Scholarshare, put in that same information, or receive just the contributions by check or Zelle.
We have another question. How long can we keep money on that account after my daughter is 18 years old? It took me 5 years to go back to college.
Is that question, Carlos, more for 529 accounts? Or is it for K to C? Do you mind clarifying in the chat? Yeah.
It's for 529.
Yes, so for 529s, there are no any fees associated with closing your account. So you could basically just keep your account open over time. It's not gonna close out on you or anything. And the money that's in your account currently, it's just gonna keep growing with interest. You're gonna be having interest in there. So it's pretty good for the most part. So just basically to answer your question, your account is not going to be closed. There's no time limits or anything. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
Mhm.
You know, Carlos, one thing that comes to mind, and I'm going to speak to this that I think is really cool about the 529 account is, I think this is a recent development, but feel free to jump in, Dana. Like you can use also a 529 account to pay for student loan debt. And you know, one of the things that we hear from families is, you know, yeah, I want to save for my students' education, but I'm still paying off my loans. And so that's like one, a little bit of a pitch that we have some public service loan forgiveness workshops offered through the Office of Financial Empowerment, and our coaches can help you with that. But you know, those are some really, I think the 529 gives you a lot of flexibility, both in terms of, again, you know, electing a different beneficiary or keeping the money there over time. Things change. So gives you a lot of options. And also the changing a beneficiary, you know, let's say if you're unsure if your child's going to go to college, you can even change that, right, to a niece or nephew. It doesn't have to be like your child, and that gives you a lot of flexibility.
Right. Thank you.
Yes, and Jessica asked, she doesn't know about many funds, and maybe you're trying to ask if maybe you don't know much about the portfolio options and how to invest. If you want more information about that or need someone to walk you through it, you can visit our website. There's an 800 number there, and there's representatives that are licensed in guiding people how to pick an investment option, because me personally, I don't have certification to give you financial advice. So you could definitely search out a financial advisor or our website. There have representatives that can help you. And then I'm also including a link here that takes you to all our different investment options, so you could do some research on one that fits your family best.
I see a question that came from Amy that seems really smart about, like, is there a threshold amount where you think it's better to transfer? And, you know, we've done some different analyses at times to assess, like, at what point does it really make, is somebody really losing out by keeping their money with K to C? And, you know, there's different ways to do that math, but I would say, you know, when it's a couple $1,000s, like, there's a lot more benefit, especially over time, to be able to invest those funds. It's ultimately a personal choice, and as Dana mentioned, we're not certified financial planners or can give that specific tax or legal advice, but I really think about what are some of those factors or considerations. Like if your student, as we heard in another question, is coming up on graduation next year, maybe you're not as worried about trying to grow that amount, but you want to get the little bit of incentives, and then, you know, in 9 months you're going to submit a request to K to C and get that money. But when you think about that growth over time, we saw that, you know, we saw how things can compound, and we can saw the tax benefits as well over time. I think there's some really exciting opportunity there.
My son's a junior. Does it still make sense to switch it or put part of it into a 529? Or should I just keep it in a K2C? You're muted.
Was that Cynthia that asked the question?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it's ultimately a personal choice. And I think one of the things that, you know, some of the feedback even that we heard from families earlier was, well, why would I save with K to C? I have a 529. And I'd say, well, the great news is you don't have to, it doesn't have to be either or. You can choose to save with both. So one thing you could do is, Cynthia, if you have a relatively, if you have a larger balance, I'd say that's all relative, but let's say you have a few $100s, you want to move that over to 529, maybe take advantage of the matching grant or that special incentive for September and try it out. You can do that and you can keep saving K2C. You can take advantage of our contests, like we have a summer virtual college tour and get some scholarships that we offer. So even though some of our matches are relatively lower, we have scholarship contests that can offer a few $100s at times. So I think, we would love for you to sort of like explore the benefits of both, and then see what works for you. We're happy to also, talk through that in more detail during our office hours, which we have virtually, or we'll show in just a moment our contact information if you want to reach out to us and talk more in depth. Hope that was helpful. Since we're coming up on time, I just want to see if there's any questions that we didn't get to in the chat. If Hafiz and Elisa, you notice anything, or Diana, and then, also invite anyone to just unmute themselves if there's something burning or urgent that they want to clarify.
There's a question from Michelle. My kid is 15 years old. She's still open at 5 to 9?
Yes, definitely. There are no time restrictions. And Diana just put in information on the chat too. To open an account with Scholarshare 5 to 9, there's no time limits or age restrictions, but if they want to qualify for that matching grant program, there is an eligibility requirement that the beneficiary has to be 14 years or younger. So as far as that, that's how that works.
Any final questions from anyone before we wrap up today's workshop? And again, we'll reiterate some final details before we do, but just want to give folks a chance.
One more question came up from Jessica. If I take out money from 5 to 9 account for school, any document to show for the IRS?
Yeah, for any, when you request money from a 5 to 9 account, we do not request any documentation, but we ask that you keep it if you get audited or for your tax purposes. So for 529, you do not need to send in your receipts, but you do have to complete a form, sign it, let us know where you want the check to be sent to and how much. But no documentation is needed for us. We just ask that you keep it.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to go ahead and show a final few slides here just so you know how to stay in touch with us. And mostly just want to say thank you to our guest here. Dana and Diana really took the time in the evening to join us, make themselves available. They do these types of workshops all the time, but they have really cool videos and a really useful website to get a lot of information. But we wanted to make this a chance for you to ask questions, digest this information, get more. So specifically for K2C though, we want to invite you to stay connected with us on social media. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook. We have a Spanish specific page as well on Facebook. And, I mentioned earlier that we have Zoom office hours. Those are weekly. Those are really a way to drop in if you want to find your account number, if you want to understand the incentives, if you want to talk through some of those questions. Man, I want to figure out whether it's really beneficial for me to move my money over now. My student's a junior. We can talk through that with you. My colleague Elisa hosts those, and we have the links on our website, k2csf.org. And along with that, we have our newsletter. You probably heard about this workshop from there. We have really helpful YouTube tutorial videos and step-by-step guides. But lastly, if you really just want to talk with someone, you can call 311 in San Francisco. You can submit a ticket through them if they're not able to help you, and we'll follow up with you. You can always email us as well at k2c@sfgov.org. With that, I just want to thank everyone, and Hafiza, I think you'll wrap us up, and then you'll hear as well. Hafisa will probably mention this, but we'll be sharing a recording of this up on our website.
That's right. Thank you everyone for joining us today. And thank you, Dana, Diana, and Mohan for the information you have shared with us. As a reminder, a recording of this workshop will be sent via email by the end of this week to everyone that has registered. And finally, if you're interested in a workshop exclusively in Spanish, join us tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. A link to register for the Spanish workshop is available on our website, k2csf.org. Once again, thank you for joining us and have a great evening.
Thank you.